Right now, while you're watching this, your brain is either growing stronger or slowly breaking down, and most people have absolutely no idea which one is happening to them. Here's what terrifies neurologists. It's not a rare disease. It's not something that happens suddenly overnight. It's a silent, invisible process that starts decades before you notice any symptoms, and the most dangerous part, the one daily habit that could stop it or dramatically accelerate it, is something almost everyone does every single day. I'm Dr. Fiona Godley, and in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly what's happening inside your brain right now, and the simple daily habit that neuroscientists say could protect it starting today. Stay with me. This could be the most important video your brain ever watches. Let me ask you something personal. Have you ever walked into a room and completely forgotten why you went there? Have you ever struggled to find the right word in the middle of a sentence? Have you ever felt mentally foggy, sluggish, like your brain is running through thick mud? If you said yes to any of those, you are not alone, and more importantly, those are not just normal aging. Those are warning signals. Your brain is one of the most extraordinary organs in the known universe. It contains approximately 86 billion neurons. It processes information faster than the world's most powerful supercomputers. It is responsible for every thought, every memory, every emotion, every decision you have ever made, and yet most of us treat it like it's invincible. We feed it poorly, we stress it constantly, we deprive it of what it desperately needs, and we do it day after day, year after year, until one day the damage becomes impossible to ignore. The medical community has a term for this process. It's called neurodegeneration, and the research is absolutely chilling. Studies now show that the brain changes associated with Alzheimer's disease begin up to 20 years before the first symptom appears. 20 years, that means by the time someone forgets their spouse's name. The silent destruction had already been happening since their 40s, but here's the part that changes everything. The brain is not helpless. It has a remarkable ability to repair, rebuild, and even grow new connections. Scientists call this neuroplasticity, and there is one daily habit backed by some of the most compelling neuroscience of the last decade that can either activate this regenerative power or completely destroy it. Before we get to the solution, you need to understand the threat. Because if you don't know what's damaging your brain right now, you cannot protect it. Let's start with something called chronic neuroinflammation. Your brain has its own immune system. It's powered by specialized cells called microglia. In a healthy brain, these cells act like precision surgeons clearing debris, fighting infection, protecting neurons. But when the brain is under constant assault, from poor diet, from toxins, from stress, from inadequate sleep, these microglial cells can become overactivated. They go from precise surgeons to reckless demolition workers. They start destroying healthy neurons. They produce inflammatory chemicals called cytokines that literally corrode the brain from within. And here is the terrifying part: you feel almost nothing at first. No sharp pain, no obvious alarm, just a slow, creeping decline, a little more forgetfulness here, a little more brain fog there, a little more emotional instability, a little more difficulty concentrating, and then the studies get darker. Researchers at the University of California found that chronic neuroinflammation is directly linked to not just Alzheimer's, but also depression, anxiety, Parkinson's disease, and cognitive decline. Let that sink in. The same invisible fire burning in your brain right now could be contributing to your mood, your focus, your mental health, and your long-term neurological fate. Now, what's igniting that fire? There are several culprits. Number one, ultra-processed food. When you eat foods high in refined sugar, artificial additives, trans fats, and industrial seed oils, you are feeding the inflammation in your brain directly. A landmark 2022 study published in JAMA Neurology found that high consumption of ultra-processed foods was associated with significantly faster cognitive decline. Not slightly faster, significantly. Number two, chronic stress. When you are under stress, your body releases a hormone called cortisol. In short bursts, cortisol is useful. It helps you respond to danger. But when cortisol floods your brain chronically, day after day, it literally shrinks the hippocampus, the part of your brain responsible for memory and learning. Stanford neuroscientist Dr. Robert Sapolsky has spent decades documenting how chronic stress can kill neurons in ways that may be irreversible. Number three, sleep deprivation. This one is critical. Your brain does something extraordinary while you sleep. It activates a cleansing system called the glymphatic system. Like a biological washing machine, it flushes out toxic waste products that accumulate during the day. One of those waste products is amyloid beta, the exact protein that forms the plaques found in Alzheimer's disease. When you don't sleep enough, this system cannot do its job. The toxic waste builds up night after night, year after year. The evidence is now overwhelming, but here's the good news, and this is where everything changes. There is a daily habit so powerful, so well studied, so consistently proven in clinical research, that neuroscientists are calling it one of the most neuroprotective things a human being can do. It doesn't cost money. It doesn't require a prescription. It doesn't need specialized equipment. It is physical exercise, and before you scroll away, stay with me. Because what exercise does to the brain is not what most people think. It goes far, far deeper than getting fit. Let me show you exactly what happens inside your brain when you move your body with consistency. When you engage in aerobic exercise, even just brisk walking, your brain begins releasing a molecule called brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, sometimes called Miracle-Gro for the brain. It is a protein that literally promotes the growth, maintenance, and survival of neurons. It helps build new synaptic connections. It strengthens existing neural pathways. It dramatically increases the rate at which your brain can learn new information, form memories, and process complex thoughts. And here is the breathtaking part: a 2011 landmark study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences showed that regular aerobic exercise actually caused the hippocampus, the brain's memory center, to physically grow by 2% in just 1 year. In older adults who had already begun to show signs of memory decline, 2% growth in a brain structure that typically shrinks with age. Think about what that means. Exercise doesn't just slow the decline, it can literally reverse it. And that is not the only mechanism. Exercise also reduces neuroinflammation by decreasing the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. It increases cerebral blood flow, delivering more oxygen and nutrients to every region of the brain. It regulates cortisol levels, protecting the hippocampus from chronic stress damage. It boosts serotonin, dopamine, and norepinephrine, the neurotransmitters responsible for mood, motivation, focus, and emotional resilience. And it activates the glymphatic system, improving the brain's overnight detoxification while you sleep. Every single brain problem we talked about earlier, exercise addresses all of them simultaneously through completely natural biological mechanisms your brain was designed for. Now let's get specific. Because not all exercise affects the brain equally, and understanding the nuances could be the difference between modest benefits and truly transformative neurological protection. This is the most studied and most potent for BDNF production. Aerobic exercise means sustained, rhythmic movement that elevates your heart rate. Brisk walking, jogging, swimming, cycling, dancing. The research consistently shows that 150 minutes per week of moderate aerobic activity, that's about 30 minutes, 5 days a week, can significantly slow cognitive aging, reduce dementia risk, and improve memory performance. A massive meta-analysis involving over 1.2 million participants published in The Lancet Psychiatry found that people who exercised regularly had significantly fewer days of poor mental health per month than those who were sedentary. The effect was more powerful than income, education, and social support. Think about that. Exercise had a greater impact on mental well-being than almost any other lifestyle factor studied. Strength training using weights, resistance bands, or even your own body weight delivers brain benefits that complement aerobic exercise in unique ways. A 2020 study from the University of Sydney found that resistance training significantly improved executive function, attention, and processing speed in adults with mild cognitive impairment. Resistance training increases the production of a growth factor called insulin-like growth factor 1, or IGF-1, which supports neuron survival and helps the brain build new connections. It also improves insulin sensitivity in the brain, a critical factor, because insulin resistance in neural tissue is now being studied as a potential driver of Alzheimer's disease. Some researchers have gone so far as to call Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes. The connection between metabolic health and brain health is real, and resistance training is one of the most powerful tools we have to address it. Yoga, Tai Chi, Qigong, mindful walking. These practices combine physical movement with focused attention, and the brain responds in a remarkable way. Studies show that regular yoga practice increases gray matter volume in the prefrontal cortex, the area responsible for decision-making, emotional regulation, and complex thinking. Tai Chi has been shown in multiple randomized, controlled trials to improve memory and executive function in older adults. And the stress reduction component of mind-body practices directly lowers cortisol, protecting the hippocampus from the chronic damage we discussed earlier. Based on the current evidence, the most neuroprotective exercise approach combines all three types: 3 to 4 sessions of aerobic exercise per week, 30 to 45 minutes. Each 2 sessions of resistance training per week targeting major muscle groups. 1 or 2 sessions of mind-body movement focused on breath, attention, and intentional movement. You don't have to be an athlete. You don't have to run marathons or lift heavy weights. The research is clear, even modest, consistent movement produces measurable brain benefits. The key word is consistency. A single workout can elevate BDN for up to 48 hours, but it is the sustained, repeated activation week after week, month after month that builds the structural changes, the increased hippocampal volume, the reduced inflammation, the enhanced connectivity. Your brain is constantly remodeling itself based on how you live. Every workout is a vote for a sharper, more resilient mind. Now let's talk about what happens when you don't move, because the risks of a sedentary lifestyle are not just physical. They are neurological, and they begin far earlier than most people realize. A comprehensive study published in JAMA Psychiatry followed over 8,000 adults over a 25-year period. The finding was stark. People who were sedentary in midlife showed significantly greater cognitive decline in later life compared to those who exercised regularly, not slightly greater. Significantly, the relationship between inactivity and brain decline was dose-dependent, meaning the more sedentary the lifestyle, the greater the damage, but it doesn't take 25 years to see the effects. Research shows that even short periods of inactivity, as little as 10 days of bed rest, can cause measurable reductions in hippocampal volume. The brain begins to lose ground within days of stopping movement. Here are the warning signs that your brain may be suffering from insufficient physical activity. These symptoms form a vicious cycle. Inactivity leads to brain inflammation and reduced BDN. Reduced BDN leads to mood decline and cognitive fog. Mood decline reduces motivation. To exercise, less exercise leads to more inactivity. The cycle continues and the brain pays the price. So how do you break the cycle? How do you give your brain the protection it desperately needs? Beyond exercise, there are 5 additional daily habits that stack powerfully on top of your movement practice. The research on diet and brain health is now unambiguous. The Mediterranean and Mind diets, both rich in vegetables, fatty fish, olive oil, nuts, berries, and whole grains, have been shown in multiple large-scale studies to significantly reduce the risk of cognitive decline and dementia. Specific brain protective foods include fatty fish, salmon, sardines, mackerel rich in omega-3 fatty acids, particularly DHA, which makes up approximately 15% of the brain's cortex. Blueberries packed with flavonoids called anthocyanins that cross the blood-brain barrier and directly reduce neuroinflammation. Leafy greens, spinach, kale, arugula high in folate. Vitamin K and lutein, all associated with slower cognitive aging. Walnuts, a striking resemblance to the brain that may not be coincidental, containing alpha-linolenic acid, and omega-3 that supports neural health. Dark chocolate above 70% cacao, a source of flavonols that increase cerebral blood flow and improve cognitive function. Turmeric, containing curcumin, one of the most studied anti-inflammatory compounds in nutritional neuroscience, shown to cross the blood-brain barrier and reduce amyloid plaque accumulation in animal studies. Conversely, foods to minimize or eliminate include ultra-processed snacks, refined sugar, industrial vegetable oils, and excessive alcohol, all of which promote the neuroinflammation that corrodes brain function. We discussed how sleep activates the glymphatic system to cleanse the brain of toxic waste. But sleep quality matters as much as sleep quantity. Deep sleep, specifically slow-wave sleep, is when glymphatic activity is highest. To maximize brain protective sleep, maintain consistent sleep and wake times even on weekends. Keep your bedroom cool between 65 and 68 degrees Fahrenheit is optimal for deep sleep. Eliminate screens for at least 60 minutes before bed. Blue light suppresses melatonin and fragments sleep architecture. Avoid alcohol within 3 hours of sleep. It disrupts REM sleep even if it helps you fall asleep initially. Consider magnesium glycinate supplementation. Studies suggest it can improve sleep quality and support brain health simultaneously. We know chronic cortisol damages the hippocampus. We know stress drives neuroinflammation. So stress management is not a luxury, it is neurological maintenance. Evidence-based stress management tools for brain health include mindfulness meditation. Even 10 minutes per day has been shown in randomized controlled trials to reduce cortisol, shrink the amygdala, the brain's fear center, and increase gray matter density in the prefrontal cortex. Diaphragmatic breathing. Slow, deep breathing activates the vagus nerve and shifts the nervous system from sympathetic fight or flight to parasympathetic rest and restore mode within minutes. Social connection. Robust social relationships are one of the most powerful predictors of cognitive longevity. Loneliness, by contrast, is as damaging to the brain as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Neuroplasticity is use-dependent. The brain grows stronger where it is used and weaker where it is not. Cognitive stimulation, learning new skills, playing instruments, studying a language, engaging in complex problem-solving has been shown To build what scientists call cognitive reserve is like a neurological buffer. The more of it you have, the more brain damage you can sustain before showing symptoms. This is why some people reach their 90s with minimal cognitive decline despite having significant Alzheimer's pathology in their brains at autopsy. They built enough reserve to compensate. What is good for the heart is good for the brain. Hypertension, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, and obesity all dramatically increase. Dementia risk by damaging the tiny blood vessels that supply the brain. Managing these conditions through diet, exercise, and appropriate medical care protects brain health as powerfully as any specific brain supplement ever could. Now let's talk about the mistakes people make when they try to protect their brain, because good intentions with the wrong approach can waste years of effort. Many people, motivated by fear or urgency, jump into extreme exercise regimens that are unsustainable. They do well for 2 weeks, then stop entirely. Consistency over intensity is the neuroscientific principle. A 20-minute walk every day beats a 2-hour gym session once a week for brain health. The supplement industry is a multi-billion-dollar business built on the desire for shortcuts. While some supplements, omega-3s, vitamin D, magnesium, lion's mane mushroom, have genuine evidence supporting brain health, none of them replicate the multi-system benefits of exercise, sleep, and diet combined. Supplements support a healthy lifestyle. They cannot replace one. Brain health is not just about what you eat or how much you exercise. Isolation is one of the most powerful accelerators of cognitive decline. A 2023 study in Nature Aging identified social engagement as a major independent predictor of brain aging. If you are spending more time alone and less time in meaningful social interaction, your brain is paying a price. This is perhaps the most damaging mistake of all. Research consistently shows that neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to change and grow, persists throughout life. Studies of exercise interventions in people in their 70s and 80s show measurable improvements in cognitive function, hippocampal volume, and neural connectivity. It is never too late to begin. Every day you choose to move, to eat well, to sleep, to connect is a day your brain moves toward health rather than decline. Let me give you a simple, powerful daily framework for brain optimization. Think of it as your brain protection protocol. Wake at a consistent time. Drink a glass of water immediately. Even mild dehydration impairs cognitive performance. Get outside for natural light within 30 minutes of waking. This anchors your circadian rhythm and supports serotonin production. Move your body. Even a 20-30-minute walk dramatically elevates BDNF and sets your neurochemistry for the day. Eat a brain-supportive breakfast: protein, healthy fats, and antioxidant-rich foods. Take a brief movement break every 90 minutes. The brain's attention cycles naturally peak and trough every 90 minutes. Movement during the trough resets focus. Practice 2 to 3 minutes of diaphragmatic breathing to manage cortisol accumulation. Eat a nutrient-dense lunch focused on vegetables, lean protein, and olive oil. Reduce screen use and intense mental stimulation after PM. Engage in a calming, social, or creatively stimulating activity. Reading, conversation, gentle movement prepare the bedroom environment for optimal sleep quality. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep consistently. This protocol does not require perfection. It requires direction. 1% improvement every day compounds into extraordinary neurological resilience over months and years. Prevention is the most powerful medicine we have, and when it comes to brain health, the window of greatest impact is not after symptoms appear. It is now. Here are the 5 most evidence-based prevention strategies for long-term cognitive health. These strategies are not complex. They are not expensive. They do not require a doctor's prescription or a specialist's appointment. They require a decision. A daily decision to protect the most extraordinary organ your body has ever created. Imagine waking up tomorrow morning with a brain that is sharper than it was yesterday. Imagine the mental clarity to think faster, remember more, and feel less overwhelmed by daily life. Imagine the emotional stability to face challenges without being consumed by anxiety or fog. Imagine looking back in 10 years and knowing you made the choice, starting today, that preserved your cognitive vitality long into the future. That is not a fantasy. That is what the neuroscience promises when you commit to protecting your brain every day. The people who are cognitively sharp in their 70s and 80s are not lucky. They are consistent. They moved their bodies when they didn't feel like it. They ate foods that nourished their neurons. They slept without guilt. They laughed, connected, and kept learning. They treated their brain not as something to use until it breaks, but as the irreplaceable foundation of everything they love about being alive. That choice is available to you right now. Today, not after you finish this video, not next Monday. Today, let me summarize what we've covered today. Your brain is under attack from inflammation, chronic stress, poor diet, inadequate sleep, and sedentary living. This attack is silent, slow, and begins decades before symptoms appear. But you are not powerless. Exercise aerobic. Resistance and mind-body is the single most powerful daily habit for protecting your brain, backed by decades of rigorous neuroscientific research. It elevates BDNF, it reduces neuroinflammation, it grows hippocampal volume, it regulates cortisol, it improves sleep quality, it boosts the neurotransmitters that govern your mood, focus, and resilience. When combined with a brain-protective diet, consistent sleep, stress management, social connection, and cognitive stimulation, the compounded effect on long-term neurological health is extraordinary. The research is clear, the choice is yours. Every single day you are either investing in your brain or withdrawing from it. I want you to be an investor starting today. If this video gave you something important, a new understanding, a new commitment, a new reason to protect the brain you have been given, then do one thing right now, share this with someone you love, because the people in your life deserve this information too. And if you are ready to go deeper to build a life that is genuinely optimized for cognitive longevity, physical vitality, and emotional resilience, then subscribe. Every week, I bring you the most current, most carefully reviewed medical science translated into clear, actionable guidance you can use today. No jargon, no shortcuts, no false promises. Just trusted, evidence-based health guidance from a perspective you can rely on. Your health is shaped by the choices you make every day. Subscribe to Dr. Fiona Godley for trusted medical insights, powerful wellness strategies, and life-changing health guidance. Remember this, your brain is not fixed. It is changing right now. Every thought you think, every meal you eat, every hour of sleep you get. Every step you take, every stressful moment you manage, every meaningful conversation you have, every new skill you learn, all of it shapes the structure and function of your brain. The future version of your mind is being built today, not someday, not when symptoms appear, not after a diagnosis. Today, the science of neuroplasticity gives us a powerful truth. Your brain responds to how you live. Feed it movement and it grows stronger. Feed it learning and it becomes more adaptable. Feed it sleep and it repairs itself. Feed it connection and it becomes more resilient. Feed it proper nutrition and it functions at its highest potential. Ignore those needs and the opposite begins to happen slowly, quietly, often invisibly, until one day the consequences become impossible to overlook. That is why prevention matters. That is why consistency matters. That is why the habits you choose today are more important than any promise of a future cure. Because the best treatment for cognitive decline is preventing it in the first place. And prevention starts with awareness. Awareness becomes action. Action becomes habit. Habit becomes lifestyle. Lifestyle becomes destiny. The remarkable thing is that you do not need perfection. You do not need a flawless diet. You do not need to exercise for hours every day. You do not need expensive supplements or complicated routines. You simply need to start one walk, one healthy meal, one good night's sleep, one moment of mindfulness, one meaningful conversation. One decision at a time, those small actions accumulate day by day, week by week, year by year, until they create a brain that is stronger, healthier, and more resilient than it would have been otherwise. And that is how real transformation happens, not through dramatic changes, but through repeated choices. The same choices made consistently over time if you take only one lesson from this video. Let it be this: your brain is worth protecting. It is the source of every memory you cherish, every relationship you value, every dream you pursue, every experience that makes life meaningful. There is nothing more valuable, and there is nothing more deserving of your care. So starting today, move your body, nourish your brain, prioritize your sleep, manage your stress, stay connected, keep learning, protect your future self. Because the choices you make now will determine the quality of your mind for decades to come. Thank you for spending this time with me. I hope this information empowers you to take action. I hope it inspires you to care for your brain with the seriousness it deserves. And most of all, I hope it reminds you that your future health is not something that simply happens to you. It is something you help create every single day. Until next time, take care of yourself and take care of your brain.